The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Bet $100 and get $100 at wynnbet.com or download the WynnBET app and start winning today. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast's Final Four watch party. This Saturday's sweat. I get that wrong every time. This Saturday, sweat out your bets and win prizes with Ryan, Sean, and Colby over on youtube.com, Sports Gambling Podcast. Make sure to fill out our listener survey for a chance to win $100 SGP and gift card. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survey. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne, northeast of England. Today is Tuesday, March the 28th. We are less than 48 hours away from first pitch on opening day. Things are ramping up. And this evening, we have a full team again to conduct our World Series draft. So we will go through the board. We'll make our picks. We'll make our case for them. And no doubt there'll be a lot of smack talk involved as well. Joining us first from Houston, Texas, Mr. Munaf, the Machine, Manjeet Munaf. What's happening?
Not much. Like you mentioned, 48 hours away from opening day. I've already seen some lines drop for the games. But like you mentioned, we did this before the playoffs last year. I thought it would be fun to carry it over for the season long. So this should be a lot of fun. Absolutely,
yes. Second leg from, I don't even know where he's from, New Jersey / New York, New something, Dylan Rockford.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, New Jersey is where I reside, but good to see you. Love the row, by the way, Malcolm. Just fits you perfectly.
Very much.
Yeah, so 48 hours.
Have just keep it wrapped up, please.
Yeah.
I have just emerged from the bath, as per usual. Also coming, I think Noah's round about 50 minutes away from Ann Arbor there in Michigan. Noah Bennick, how are you?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, if you tell me we're drafting something, we're putting teams in a bracket, we're doing a rankings thing, I mean, I'm all in on any of those. So I'm ready for this. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we drafted at the start of the playoffs last year. We drafted our playoff teams. And apparently the finishing order is how we have decided seedings for this draft. Noah, you were in charge of the rankings. So what was the finishing order?
Yes. So Munaf won it. He had Philly and Houston, and they both played in the World Series. So it was Munaf, then Malcolm, and then Dylan and I finished tied. We gave the tiebreaker to Dylan because he unfortunately got screwed and had both Tampa Bay and Cleveland, and they played each other. So he was automatically losing one of those teams. So he's picking third, and I have the fourth pick today.
And can you explain to me why the winner gets first pick and not fourth pick? Because surely in this American sports system that you all employ, the worst performer gets first pick.
Yeah, but we have a snake draft on today. So I think it's only right that Munaf should get to choose the team that he thinks will win it all this year.
Yeah, okay. So no tanking.
In American drafts, we go 1 through 30, and then you go back to 1 and not 30.
Yeah, but 30 starts. Like the worst team starts, don't they, from last year?
Yeah.
So right, so Munaf first, he should be fourth.
We're doing a snake draft to make it even 1 through 4.
So it doesn't make it even. It's still the same.
First.
I'm not mad because I think come the end, all three of you will say, wow, what a very insightful and clever man you are. You put those exact words, I imagine, will come out of your mouths. But, so I'm not mad.
As long as Malcolm is near me, because I know he'll make some stupid team pick like he did with the Yankees last year.
Munaf, you're an absolute buffoon, is what you are. No, I quite enjoyed this, and we did see some opening day lines drop. We'll be here same time tomorrow with our first picks show for the new season. And even just looking at those numbers, man, how could you not sit there with a big smile on your face, rubbing your hands, just absolutely itching to get involved? Probably by this time tomorrow, my first two bets of the season have lost, but I wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, really, really excited. We'll get to the draft once I have told you about WinBet, the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WinBet is now active in Massachusetts and tons of other states. Be on the lookout for the WinBet Win Hour each Thursday from 5 till 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During WinBet Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WinBet, giving you a larger payout opportunity. And March Madness this year. Many ways to bet on the big dance. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, get $100. Limited to state availability. And of course, for our DGens, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get a $1,000 free credit. Loads to choose from. Head to winbet.com or download the WinBet app. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you were someone who has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. The SGP Masters competition, which is something a little bit special. You can hang out with Sean and Ryan at Stadium Swim, watching the biggest golf tournament in the world. It includes a 3-night stay at the Circle Las Vegas to hang out with the guys. Completely free to enter. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf party. If you do it in the contest, you can still get a discount on a room using the promo code SGPN. And the Final Four watch party is going virtual. Hang out with the boys on their YouTube channel for the entire Saturday of Final Four action. Live bets, prize giveaways, and plenty more. Subscribe to youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast and tune in on Saturday. Who's going to win the Masters is Jason Day, by the way. I have already involved him a little bit. I just nearly pulled my entire camera system there. My wires got caught up in my flouncy robe. See the problem when you're wearing luxury clothing. Okay then, Munaf.
One quick thing before we start picking. I watched the SGP show for the MLB preview. Let's make sure a good strategy would be to not pick all four AL or all four NL teams here, because we don't want to end up with a Phillies Cubs World Series, right?
Yeah, Sean did make a bit of a goose of himself. He had word too. Yeah, they caveated at the top of the show that neither of them knew very much about baseball, but then Sean demonstrated that very well with those picks at the end. It made me feel better though. Made me feel like the third best handicapper on that show at least. Munaf, you're going to take to the stage. We're going to boo and hiss and jeer in the background. And with the first pick of the 2023 World Series draft, Munaf, take it away.
I am going to go with my first pick with the Atlanta Braves. They are sitting at plus 750. Definitely shop around for the best number, but really high on this Braves team. I know we talked about it yesterday when we were giving out our division winners and our win total best bets, that I felt like this is a team that's going to have a great season. Obviously, they should be a 100-win team. You take a look at their rotation, Max Fried, Spencer Strider, we're really high on even from last year. They still have Uncle Charlie Morton in the rotation. They're going to get Soroka back, or I think he is back. And you just take a look at this lineup. I mean, the year that they won the World Series, they didn't even have Ronald Acuna Jr. there because he was dealing with a torn ACL. You get him back. He came back last year, obviously. I always say MVP candidate. I mean, just go up and down their lineup. Just all three phases, pitching, bullpen, and their batting order. And they have a great manager as well. So I think this is a team that's going to come out of the National League this year. I'm picking them to win it all this upcoming season. So my first pick, Atlanta Braves, plus 750 to win the World Series this year.
Yeah, it's an absolutely rock solid pick. I think Munaf, you said there's no chinks in the armor, whichever way you look at it, up and down. So it is a very wise pick. Pick number 2 then belongs to me, and I'm going to take the San Diego Padres. The San Diego Padres are currently plus 850 for the World Series. Firstly, I mean, in the division, I think they've got a chance because the Dodgers have left the door ajar slightly for them. The Dodgers have just dropped off, and the Padres don't very often get a chance to go through as division winners. So that's the first thing that they've got to do. Last year, the Padres won 89 games. However, that was with 0 games from Fernando Tatis. That was with only 52 games from Juan Soto and only 90 games played from Eric Hosmer. I mean, Tatis is effectively a new signing. He's back able to 20-something, I think. So you add those three players onto an 89-win team, and I think it's unavoidable that they have a good year. That's without, before we mentioned Xander Bogaerts as well. And then I think I really like the rotation. They've got a couple of injuries to come back, but I talked up Blake Snell a little bit last night. You've got Yu Darvish. I don't mind Nick Martinez. Even Seth Lugo's looked okay. Joe Musgrove needs to sort his toe out. And then another name that we mentioned, I think 3 was for the saves leader, is Josh Hader, who's gone 15 innings scoreless. So, yeah, I just don't know why they can't go very, very, very deep. And I think with a little bit of momentum as well, the Padres, they're a young team. Manny Machado, he's going to be a leader in that clubhouse. There's going to be a lot of drive this year for the Padres, and they're going to take advantage of the fact that the Dodgers have left this door open. So plus 850, I will add the Padres as the first pick on my roster, and we will move on to Dylan Rockford.
All right, I'll just keep it in the National League. I'm going to take the Cardinals to win the World Series, plus 2,000. I said it yesterday on the pod. I think it's their year to get past the Braves, Dodgers, Padres, even the Mets. I love how they replaced Yadier Molina with the best catcher on the market, Wilson Contreras. Jordan Walker, we talked about yesterday as well. He's going to be a nice addition to this loaded lineup. I think they have a lot of depth. But guys like Wainwright, Mikolas, Montgomery, we saw them get in the trade deadline, Flaherty, Matz, even Dakota Hudson. I think they should be enough to win most of their games. So could always count on the Cardinals to make moves at the deadline as well to improve their rotation. So we saw last year, like I said, with Montgomery, I think they have tremendous defense. I think they have a loaded lineup as well. So at plus 2,000 for my first pick, I'm going to take the Cardinals to get over the hump.
Yeah, it's a nice pick. They're a good team. Surprisingly, that you picked them there, because I think they probably would have been there a little bit later on. There's quite a few of the big names still there, Dylan. So you must be high on them to have eschewed the bigger names. And finally, number 4. In fact, on the turn, Noah, so you have back-to-back picks. So you can take us through picks number 4 and 5.
Do you want to hit an ad before 5, or just go right through 4 and 5?
You can go for it, mate. You're good.
Cool. All right. So you guys all went with 3 NL teams. So you left me the overall favorite to win the American League, and that's the Houston Astros. They're plus 600, which is actually the favorite to win the World Series on the books. And I'm going to start with Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, Hunter Brown, Jose Urquidy. H-Town doesn't have Justin Verlander anymore, but this rotation is still excellent. All 5 of those guys return with sub-4 ERAs from last year, and Lance McCullers is currently on the IL. But, I mean, going into this bullpen, we have Ryan Presley, Brian Abreu, Hector Neris, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Stanek. All 5 of those guys threw at least 48 innings last year, with at most a 3.72 ERA, a 3.29 expected ERA, and a 3.02 FIP. That is a stellar top 4 arms in the bullpen. They lack a lefty. Last year, it didn't matter. Lastly, this team will peak at the right time because Jose Altuve and Michael Brantley won't start the year healthy, but still you have a World Series winning experienced lineup that includes Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu now, Alex Bregman, and Jeremy Pena. I love this pick at 4th overall for the Houston Astros, plus 600.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Munaf didn't take the Astros off the board earlier on. But, I mean, yeah, similar to the Atlanta Braves, I think it's really difficult to pick a hole in them. And they've got the form in the book. They've done it before. So, solid pick. Straight back to you then, Noah, pick number 5.
All right, 5th overall. I'm going a little bit deep because I don't want to lose this team through the next, I don't know how many picks I have to wait. I'm going to go another AL team, and it's my second favorite team in the American League. It's the Tampa Bay Rays, 5th overall, 19-1. I truly think that the Tampa Bay Rays have the second best roster in the American League. The depth of the Rays franchise is insane because we just saw it last year. Everything health-wise went wrong, and the Rays still won 86 games. Tampa Bay's rotation includes Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, Jeffrey Springs, Zach Eflin this year, and Tyler Glasnow will be back come postseason time as well. In the pen, you have Pete Fairbanks, Jason Adam, Sidewinder, Ryan Thompson, and Southpaws Jalen Beeks and Colin Poche. Kevin Cash, once again, has a top 3 arm barn that he will be able to pull strings, conducting and aiding this team with a young but very capable lineup to win a World Series championship.
Yeah, I was disappointed, that the Rays didn't get back to me. And I thought they would have done actually at pick 7, because I know Munaf and Dylan weren't particularly high on Tampa. I mean, Wander Franco's a name that really people have forgotten about. The amount of hype that surrounded Franco before he came up. I think when he did come up, Munaf, 2 years ago, we did like a special show, didn't we? Like, I remember sitting in this kitchen a couple of years ago because of the big fanfare that came up. And yeah, he's had a couple of difficulties, a few injuries, but the kid's 22 years old still. And I don't know why he can't just absolutely explode. And I love Jeffrey Springs as well. Big fan of what he's been doing. Got him on plenty of fantasy teams. Yeah, Tampa Bay were one of my World Series picks. So, yeah, I was disappointed they didn't get back to me in this spot. So, yeah, I like that. We will go back for pick number 6, and that's Mr. Dylan Rockford.
Yeah, so 6, I'm going to go Mariners, plus 2,000. You know, last year, the Mariners were finally able to get back to the playoffs. First time in 21 years. I think they have a really good shot at getting back to the playoffs again this season. You know, this team is led by AL Rookie of the Year, Julio Rodriguez. He became the fastest player to reach 25 home runs and 25 steals in his first year. You know, this is another team I picked that were underdogs last season going up against the Blue Jays. They swept them in the wild card round, and then they also wind up getting swept. But it was kind of competitive against the Astros. They didn't get blown out in any game. And I think they got better offensively. You know, the Mariners, they had a top 10 offense last season. They upgraded second base with Colton Wong over Adam Frazier. They moved on from Jesse Winker and Mitch Haniger to Teoscar Hernandez. You know, I think this could be a big year for Jared Kelenic. But I think the Mariners, they have good depth, good star power in their lineup, and they have one of my favorite pitching staffs as well. So it's hard not to throw a little something on them to get past the Astros this year and win the World Series. So at plus 2,000, my 6th overall pick, I'm going to take the Mariners.
Dylan's all over these 20-1 shots. So yeah, my next pick, I think, like Noah said, he didn't want to miss out on this team. So I've certainly reached for this team. We have all already had a bit of a laugh about my kind of obsession. And I'm not the only one who gets a little bit obsessed with the LA Angels at 50-1. But it's really hard not to. And I think partly it's coming off the WBC stuff. Everyone's laughing. What are you all laughing at? Even Munaf's muted, but he's still laughing. I can see his little head shaking.
Seduced by the Angels.
Seduced by the Angels, Munaf, our album of power ballads, which will be in the shop soon. But yeah, I mean, all you have to do is build a team around Trout and Ohtani. And I think this year they've certainly done that with the lineup a little bit. They've added Brandon Drury. They're not a bad side at all. It's the pitching, and Munaf will always complains about the pitching. And we know it's like a broken record. It's the same thing every year for them. But they've added Tyler Anderson. I like Reed Detmers. And I just didn't want to leave them out. I think the Angels have to, and I could be proven absolutely wrong again. But I just don't know what's not to like about them. Patrick Sandoval was great last year. Little bit of a question mark about the pen. Hunter Renfroe is another great addition as well. So, yeah. I mean, with Trout and Ohtani, you've got a head start there. You've got a huge head start. And I think both of them could go to new places. Trout could return to where we've seen him. But I do think Ohtani could go to where could just hit new heights. So yeah, give me the LA Angels at 50-1, please.
So Captain Insano is in the chat, and he goes, "Angels, I think the robe is on too tight."
We have our
funny guy, Captain.
First video pull that we need to do, because as soon as you said they need to build around Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, no, it just goes, if it was that easy, they would have done it by now.
Like they haven't tried to do that the last easy. 3-4 years.
Yeah, pull this.
I'm literally crying. Like, you're the fuck.
To add on the Angels, because I think I'm on the over with Malcolm. I don't know if the other two are, but The holes in this team right now are shortstop, and I think that answer is going to be Zach Neto from the minor leagues. Kid is an all-star, waiting behind the curtain, ready to be called up because, dude, so his stature, he's only like 5'11", and he looks skinny as hell, but he's got insane pop from Campbell. He was literally drafted last year, but he's climbed up the ranks so fast, and they expect him to be on this team if Dom Fletcher struggles early. The other weakness or hole I think they have is a closer. I don't know if they have like a definitive closer. They have a guy named Ben Joyce who's literally hitting 104 in their farm system right now. And my opinion on that is you don't wait on an arm like that. Like, you don't let him just sit down there and marinate, because the more time he's just throwing 104 down in the minor leagues is the more like chance that, I don't want to wish it upon him, but like the worry is that he gets hurt and the arm, you might never see this ever again from an arm like this. So you want him on the team, I think, as soon as possible. So he's been a closer at Tennessee, which they went literally like 57-9 last year in the college ranks. He was amazing in the back end of their bullpen. And I think he would just step in with the Angels and completely throw fuzz past major leaguers too. Nobody's used to 104 and 105.
So there, Noah's given us two more reasons why the Angels are going to win the World Series on top of all the reasons I give. Absolutely perfect. We will move on to the smart arse himself, Mr. Munaf Manji. On the turn, Munaf. In fact, give us one pick, and then I will we'll do a halftime ad read, and you can crack on with the second half of the draft.
Yep. All right. So for my next pick, 8th overall, I can't believe. In fact, Dylan let this team fall to me. I'm gonna go Mets. They're currently sitting at around plus 950. Again, shop around for the best number, but we're talking about Uncle Steve, Daddy Steve, whatever you want to call him, just opening up the wallet this season. It's off season for this New York Mets team. They bring back Max Scherzer. They signed Justin Verlander. So a 1-2 punch. They've been great during the regular season. I know they've faltered a little bit in the playoffs. Justin Verlander last year did have a great playoffs run for the Astros. He did have a game or two in there who was really good, but you have two seasoned guys that have, plenty of postseason experience. And, like Noah says, anytime we're kind of looking at these teams to back on their win totals or for futures or anything like that, I start with the pitching. And those are two future Hall of Famers just right there. They also have Senga that they brought over, that they signed from Japan. He's going to be really good. You have Carlos Carrasco rounding it off at the back end of the rotation. David Peterson is going to be in there as well. And then you take a look at their batting lineup. I mean, it's going to be, again, a murderer's row if these guys are able to stay healthy. Brandon Nimmo comes back at the top of their order. Francisco Lindor had a phenomenal second year for the New York Mets last season. Pete Alonso, what more can I say? This guy is definitely a guy that can get you 40 to 45 to 50 home runs in a given season. Jeff McNeil, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar as well. So they have a lot of great pieces on this team. I know they lost Edwin Diaz, but again, they won't be afraid to go out and get another arm in the bullpen or another closer if they need to during the regular season, if that's an area that they are struggling with. So at plus 950, with the way this team is constructed and their window right now is to win a championship, especially when you have aging Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, I'll gladly take them at this 8th overall spot at plus 950.
Good pick, Munaf.
Good pick, Munaf. Underdog fantasy. Is what I'm going to tell you about. In fact, I'm not going to tell you about. Yeah, I am. Underdog Fantasy continues their March Madness College Pick'em. It's a great way to get in on the action, especially if your bracket is busted. Plus, Underdog Fantasy has your favorite college basketball player props and great NBA and NHL daily games. Head to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Yeah, Munaf, I think you've done pretty well there with picks 1 and 8 to end up with 2 of the top 3 in the market. And there's still some big teams available for you, and you're going to lead us off for the second half of the draft. Pick number 9, Munaf.
Yeah, so I have 2 NL teams here. I obviously have to get into a American League team. I'm going to take the Toronto Blue Jays at 13-1 right now. We talked about during the division previews with Johnny that the number one thing that I really did like about this team is that they made that shift to a defensive outfield for this upcoming season. You added Kevin Kiermaier. You have Dalton Varsho that you traded for with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And again, pitching, right? Alek Manoah, a guy that's going to be in the Cy Young race this upcoming season. Kevin Gausman as well. Jose Berrios is the one guy I'm looking at that can make or break this rotation. Hopefully he's able to bounce back for this Toronto Blue Jays team and be the guy that he was with the Minnesota Twins. And they also added Chris Bassett in the offseason. I don't believe he was with the Mets last year. They add him kind of to fill in that 4-5 to round out this rotation. And then you take a look at this lineup as well, right? Obviously, when you have a World Series champion leading off for you in George Springer, I know he's been derailed with injuries over the last season or so for the Toronto Blue Jays, but he's been a great pickup for them. An MVP caliber player, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., is kind of, I think, flying under the radar with just all the star power that there is in the American League. Bo Bichette, he was on fire in the second half of the season last year. You added Brendan Bell, Alejandro Kirk. Like I mentioned, Matt Chapman at third base, Whit Merrifield. Hopefully he's able to turn it around as well. So I like the balance of this team. They hired the manager. I always forgot what his name is. It's John Schneider, I believe, for the Toronto Blue Jays. So I really do like this team, the way that they constructed this in this offseason. So at 13-1, I'm going to take the Toronto Blue Jays here, Mal.
So Munaf has 3 of the top 7 teams, and after that Blue Jays pick, there's a real drop off in the odds. Chalky Munaf, you are. That's what's happened there. He's displayed zero imagination in his picks. Luckily for everyone, I've displayed all the imagination here. Pick number 10, and the more I've looked into this, the more I'm keen on it, and it's going to be the Minnesota Twins. So yeah, coming out of these 2 central divisions, there's not much going on in there really certainly this one for anyone to get excited about. Cleveland with a story last year, but do you know Minnesota led this division for 41 days more than Cleveland last year, and kind of everyone's just written them off a little bit. And they suffered horrifically with injuries. The defense is absolutely rock solid. I think the lineup's got some upside as well. But it's the rotation that looks particularly solid for me. You've got Pablo Lopez, then you've got Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Tyler Marley, and Kenta Maeda. I mean, our guy, Noah Bailey Ober, who was brilliant last year. I think he pitched to a mid-3 ERA. We drafted him in TGFBA. He's been sent down. So we had to jettison him on waivers at the weekend. So yeah, they've got some depth as well. And they look, I mean, I wouldn't say it was spectacular, but it's above average, and it's above average all the way down. It's kind of five SP2s, if you like, in there. So yeah, I've got high hopes for Minnesota. The more I've looked into them, I think the more sneaky good they can be this season. 50-1 for the Twins. And I might just have a little like on that now, but yeah, I like Minnesota. Dylan, pick number 11.
Yeah, now I love this pick even more. I'm taking the Guardians 25-1. The Guardians, they're looking to make it.
Twins went off the board before the Guardians. What in the world is going on right now?
41 days more than the Guardians. They led that division last year, no?
Early on in the season, before they lost, 3 or 4 of their starting lineup hitters.
All right. Clip this as well.
They have a bunch of SP3s. I wouldn't call them all 5 SP2s.
2.4s.
I don't know.
Malcolm,
Right,
just
go
real
on,
quick,
Dylan.
I'm probably gonna fade Pablo Lopez on opening day tomorrow against the Royals, but that's for tomorrow. The Guardians, they got a strong pitching staff. Even though we did get bad news, Tristan McKenzie, he suffered a shoulder strain. He's gonna be sidelined anywhere from like 2 to 8 weeks, which sucks. But I do like Shane Bieber, my boy Cal Quantrill. They have Zach Plesac, Aaron Savali, so. They have one of the best closers in the league as well. And the offense is not going to blow you away, but they make a lot of solid contact. They don't strike out. And I think they could produce runs to not just win the division, but also make a strong push. We saw last year they swept the Rays when they were underdogs. They pushed the Yankees all the way to the 5th game. So I think there's a lot of upside to this team. And if they get hot at the right time, it doesn't matter if the Twins lead for 50 games. I think they'll win. And I think they're better than the Twins. So 25-1, I'm taking the Guardians.
Oh man, that's rubbish. Noah, make the turn with your second pair and final pair of picks.
Well, much like Malcolm and I in our TGFBI draft, I just got sniped. I wanted Cleveland. Let me look at the teams that are left. Did anybody take the Yankees?
Nope.
All right, well, I'll take the Evil Empire, 12th overall. They're the second favorite to win the World Series at plus 750. So, yeah, I guess I'll go with New York. This is a team with a super high ceiling when healthy. The issue is, and I think that's why some of us have passed on the Yankees all the way to number 12, is that, like, Carlos Rodon has a strained forearm. So, like, oh boy. Luis Severino, strained lat. Yikes. And Frankie Montas is done for the year already with a arthroscopic shoulder surgery. So, like, come on, that's your second ace, your SP3 and your SP4, all on the IL for an extended period of time before opening day. The positive is that two of these three guys will be back for the playoff push, and their arms won't be as taxed from April, May, and June. Also in the bullpen, we see Clay Holmes, Michael King, Jonathan Loaizaga, and a trusty lefty in Wandy Peralta, albeit he's their only southpaw, but when healthy, this is a great bullpen. And then you have an ace in Garrett Cole. If he pitches like Garrett Cole can, that's a W every 5 days. And Nestor Cortez was nasty last year. Then we get to the lineup, and I have to admit, I don't like the Yankees, but when healthy, New York has a top 5 lineup in the MLB. But if last August's batting order rears its ugly face again, it's just yikes, and you're fading them when they're minus 140 every night. But for this exercise, the lineup is LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Glaber, Donaldson, Aaron Hicks, Jose Trevino, and Volpe. That's a World Series lineup that I think 25 of the 30 teams in this league would love to have. So plus 750 for the New York Yankees. If it fell to me at 12, I'm happy taking them.
Yeah, I think we've overlooked them for a number of reasons, a lot of them personal reasons. And I was just a bit bored of them. Munaf bullied me so much about them last year. I didn't dare take them again this year. But yeah, if you separate it out in the cold light of day, you can't really pick holes. There's little bits to worry about. Aaron Hicks is still bumming around. There's the health issues with the two big lads in there, the two big boppers. But like I say, in isolation, you put that up against some of the teams that are already off the board. Yeah, and they're a better team. There's no doubt about it. To get them at 12, no, I think you've done well. And who are you going to add at 13?
So I have 3 American League teams. I'm going to take the best National League team still on the board. That's the Los Angeles Dodgers. So with this turn, I took both minus 1.5 teams. Quite happy with that at 12th and 13th overall. The Dodgers are plus 850 to win the World Series. They're the 4th favorites to win it all this year. I'm going to start it off with, LA's lineup because they lost Trey Turner, but they still have the top 7 hitters of Mookie, Freddie, Will Smith, Max Muncy, JD Martinez, Chris Taylor, and Trace Thompson, who's been on an absolute tear since last August, and then includes the WBC. That's a lineup very capable of doing big damage. Their rotation, Tony Gonsolin's currently on the IL, but Julio Urias anchors it with Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, who I absolutely love, Noah Syndergaard, and then you have Ryan Pepio with two excellent prospects in Bobby Miller and Gavin Stone, who are just knocking at the door, ready to fill in. If they fill in, I don't know if they would miss a beat here. Then to finish the pitching staff, the bullpen is filthy disgusting. Evan Phillips, Brusdar Graterol, Yency Almonte, with two great reliable lefties in Alex Vesia and Caleb Ferguson. But that's not all. Currently on the IL is Blake Trinan, JP Fireeisen, Alex Reyes from the Cardinals, and Daniel Hudson, who will turn into their closer when he comes back. I mean, I think the Dodgers are capable of winning the NL West, the NLCS, and the World Series, but everybody's just kind of doubting them because of the loss of Trey Turner, Walker Buehler needing Tommy John surgery. This is still a World Series winning caliber squad for having a ceiling at the World Series, in my opinion. So plus 850 for the LA Dodgers.
Okay, I think a lot of what we said about the Yankees can apply to the Dodgers as well. But on the a 12 and 13 turn to pick up the Yankees and the Dodgers, you've got to be happy with your work there. Dylan, your final pick number 14.
Yeah, fourth and final pick for me. Sneaky pick, I think, here at 4. Give me the Phillies at 15-1. They got hot at the right time last year. They were able to get to the World Series. They made a huge splash in the offseason. They got Trey Turner. That's going to be huge for them. And Philly, they're returning much of their 2022 roster, but, injuries, I think, have also set them back just a little. Bryce Harper, he had Tommy John, so we don't really know. It'll probably be until midseason he'll come back. Reese Hopkins, he's probably going to be out the whole season. He tore his left ACL in spring training. So, I think they do have the pieces to make it back to the postseason. I think the question is, can this team keep it together, stay healthy until Bryce Harper comes back? And if they can, I do like their chances to not just make the playoffs. Hopefully they get a better run, but I think their bullpen needs to step it up. They need to get hot and close out some close games this season. So at 15-1, and with my last pick, I'll take the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, if the Phillies can finish third, make the playoffs like they did last year, then they're absolutely in business and in a good price to do so.
You know what that tells me, though, is Dylan passed on his Mets, but pounced at the ability the Phillies. The Phillies this year.
Anything to any reply to that accusation, Dylan?
No, he's right.
Dylan with the brutal honesty there. He's already looks broken. It's about 38 hours till first pitch, and Dylan's a broken man already. So the penultimate, first sight of the word penultimate, Noah, just for you. Pick if the drafts. This is a beauty, boys. An absolute beauty. This is rounded out my stable of plucky underdogs. Are the Arizona Diamondbacks, obviously. Munaf's nearly fallen off his chair. Now, if you just hang on, because I'm gonna have to scroll quite a long way down the page here to find their odds.
Are they gonna get to 500? They went to
80-1. 80-1 for the D-backs. 80-1, yeah.
I see 170-1.
Oh, really? All right,
I'll 170-1.
I'll PayPal you some of my hard-earned. What are you giving me?
300-1.
300-1 for your Arizona Diamondbacks. I will send a $5 over this very minute. Listen, shut up, you're all idiots. It's a great fun lineup. We've already admitted all this. Loads of speed. Now, I admit we're going to need a few things to go our way here for this to come off.
You need a few things.
Yeah, we need it. We need a couple of things to land in place, Munaf. This isn't going to be straightforward. But Dylan just talked about the Phillies. Phillies made the playoffs last year with 87 wins. So that's the aim. That's the first thing we need. So obviously the projection's at 74. So all we need to do is get 13 wins over that. Well, what did Baltimore cleared their projection last year by 21 or whatever? So it's very, very possible. Munaf, you like this rotation as well, so don't give me that shit. Yeah, exactly. You got Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte can bounce back. Alec Thomas, they all run like the wind, these boys. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Squeak into the playoffs like Philly did in third place. Where did Philly end up last year? Anyone? Yeah,
Okay.
World Series?
The World
The
Series.
Diamondbacks won 74
Philly also
games.
has reigning NL MVP on their roster.
The Diamondbacks won 74 games a year ago. They would need to outperform their win total, just like the Orioles did.
That's what I said.
Get the seventh
Orioles didn't even make the playoffs,
seed.
though.
They would need to get to the seventh seed.
That's because they started on 61. The Diamondbacks start on 74. Christian Walker's going to hit 94 home runs. Listen, come back to me in November. Arizona Diamondbacks. Munaf with the last pick of the draft. Who have you got?
How am I supposed to follow that up with?
Yeah, you can't, can you?
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Let me collect myself here. Let me see how left here. Okay. We talked a lot about pitching, right? And I think this team probably low key has maybe the best pitching rotation, arguably. That is the Milwaukee Brewers, 35-1. You talk about Brandon Woodruff, you talk about Corbin Burns, who they have Freddie Peralta, Eric Lauer, and they picked up Wade Miley to kind of round out that back into the rotation for this team. Now, we talked about year in and year out how the run production isn't really there for this team. But I think we'll see a bounce back year for former MVP Christian Yelich, really Adames. Hopefully he can hit a little bit better. I think Rowdy Tellez is going to be a beneficiary to the defensive shift being banned as well. William Contreras, also they have Jesse Winker. We've seen him perform at a high level when he was the Reds. I think the bottom of the lineup does make me nervous, 7, 8, and 9. They do have Brian Anderson as in there. But again, you never know. Once you get into the playoffs, I think that Noah does like him to win the NL Central. So this team, it's going to be a 2-horse race between the Cardinals and the Brewers, I think, for the NL Central division. And I do see a world, obviously, where they do make the playoffs, unlike the Diamondbacks. But I think for a rotation and a team of this caliber, I'll take them with my last pick. They're currently sitting at around 35-1 here, Mal.
Okay, so the Milwaukee Brewers rounds out Munaf's stable. So, trivia question quickly, boys. Who's the highest ranked team or with the lowest odds that we haven't drafted?
I would probably say the White Sox. I was going between them and the Brewers.
Yeah, the White Sox are in there at 28-1. And there's a couple of Texas have been overlooked. I would maybe say the only other one who might have been drafted, but some of us went further down the board to pick the good winners. So quick recap then.
Some of us went to Mars to get some picks. I don't know.
Yeah, Munaf Chalky Manji. Your stable, Munaf, drafted out with the one spot. You have the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Milwaukee Brewers. My stable, this is incredible. Batten down the hatches for this. I've got the San Diego Padres, followed by the LA Angels, followed by the Minnesota Twins, and tucked snugly in the bottom there, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dylan Rockford.
Before you get to the superstars of the show, you have 3 teams that possibly cannot make it to the playoffs. I'll say that much.
He has 3 teams that might end the season with a losing record.
You fool. Honestly, I can't wait for the 4th of November or something. This is going to be so much fun. I'm going to book an open top bus, right? And I'm going to drive around town on this open top. It's going to be like the 4th of July, the ticker tape parade. And you 3 boys, I'll have my laptop on my knee, and I want you 3 boys to be so full of apologies for me. It's unbelievable.
The Padres and the Angels in the World Series, Mal's going to be unbearable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'll be demanding
the Angels and the Twins.
Dylan Rockford has. I'm glad I amuse you boys. Anyway, Dylan Rockford has the St. Louis Cardinals. Dylan wasn't very chalky. He had 2 20-1 shots early on. The St. Louis Cardinals with the Seattle Mariners, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Philadelphia Phillies. And Noah from pick 4. You ended up with a very powerful stable of the Houston Astros. You have the Tampa Bay Rays, you've got the New York Yankees, and you've got the LA Dodgers. So I mean, how's everyone feeling about their chances now? Better. I think you three are feeling better than you were.
Yeah, I'll probably rank Noah's number one as far as
Noah sneaked the Yankees.
Yeah,
Noah's
the Dodgers and the Yankees at that turn, I think, was a really great pickup for him.
I don't
outside
like those two teams historically, but we're gonna ride it out.
Outside of Malcolm, who's like ranked number 26 out of 4 of us here. But, no, I'm pretty happy with the team. I think that, Dylan's squads have probably the most upside for this upcoming year. Like we talk about a lot of people picking the Cardinals and the Mariners, Guardians, another sneaky team as well. And then like you mentioned, Malcolm, I kind of went chalky with the Braves, the Mets in there. And then I think the big sexy pick again this year is the Toronto Blue Jays as well. But hopefully none of us, what we're sipping here, we don't have what you have in your cup when we were doing this live.
Well, this is why they play the game, boys. This is why they play the games. And we'll be here this time tomorrow to pick over those games and make our first few betting picks. The YouTube channel is always open. Subscribe to that. Please follow us on Twitter at MLBSGPN. We've got a DraftKings DFS contest for opening day. It's only $3. We normally run one every night, so I'll get Noah to tweet that out, or you'll find it if you are in the SGPN league. There's 500 odd people in that league, so I'm sure we can rustle up some players for a DFS game on Thursday night as well. So lots to look forward to. Munaf, have I forgotten anything?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. We did a tremendous job of doing the season preview. So if you haven't already, go back and listen to all the division previews. We did the future show yesterday with all of our player awards and all that good stuff. And like Mal said, we'll be back tomorrow right around this time to preview opening day. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Everyone who joined us in the chat and got involved, we appreciate it. And keep your eyes peeled. This time tomorrow, it's time to get our betting hats on. Really looking forward to it. So 24 hours. Good luck with anything you're doing in the meantime. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.